What's up, everyone? It's Kanan,
It's Jessie.
and we're the Geeky Saying Couple, and welcome back to an all-new RWBY discussion video. This time we were talking about everyone's favorite bad girl, Cinder. Though, for a lot of people, their favorite bad girl in RWBY is Salem, but for us anyway, Cinder's got the most interesting story right now going forward. So Jess has mentioned many times how she has many theories about the end of Cinder, and we're going to get to that, but first let's talk a little bit about what her role could be before that happens. Now, I remember, I think it was after Volume 6, I'm not 100% sure because it's been a while ago, that we were hearing rumors that Jessica Nigri, the voice of Cinder, was only signed up to Volume 8. So, of course, many thought Volume 8 might be Cinder's last volume, but of course, it's obvious now that it wasn't. And I've not seen anyone talk about how long Jessica is going to be is going to be voicing for RWBY. But, Cinder has kind of been in a main villain role since Volume 1. She's been in the show longer than Salem. Salem didn't show up until the end of Volume 3, where for a little bit people thought that Cinder was the main bad because she's been there since Volume 1, and she's always been a constant threat throughout the entire series. We only learned in Volume 3 that she was kind of the sub-boss when Salem is the main boss. But in a lot of ways, Cinder has positioned herself where she still kind of is the main villain in a lot of ways, because she's manipulating everybody, Salem included, as far as we know. Salem kind of comes off as the villain who knows in a way that Cinder may be doing things against her wishes, but she still got what she wanted at the end of Volume 8. So it could be a thing of, yeah, she didn't listen to me, she didn't follow my orders, but I still got what I wanted. So she's still useful. So, but the funny thing about all that is even though Cinder has, as many in Wrestle Talk say, went into business for herself, she's never once really stated that she wants to go against Salem. Because for one, I think Cinder is smart enough to know that even if she got all the maiden powers, she still wouldn't stand a chance against Salem. So it's almost like she's the boss, but I'm going to do my own thing, but I'm not going to do enough to put me in her bad graces. Because remember, in Volume 6, even though she was, in a way, had gone rogue for the most, in some instances, even though she went back to Salem, she was still following Salem's orders in not to kill RWBY, even though she was setting up Neo to do it. So I don't know. Really.
She's using others to get what she wants
without getting
her own rules, which is bending the rules that Salem set for her. Like, that's how she's playing this. She's in business for herself,
but she's not doing enough to.
She's bending the rules that Salem gave her in what she wants her to do by having others do it, so that way it comes back on her that, hey, I tried to stop them, but they did it anyways.
Yeah,
think about it. That's exactly what she's doing, because she's doing it for her own gain, so that way she can turn around and act the way she does towards Salem, like, I did this for you.
Yeah.
Or I couldn't stop them because of this. So, yeah, she's two-siding this.
Yeah, because if you think about it, Cinder was the full reason that all of Team RWBY fell, but yet she turns around and blames it on Neo, says Neo killed RWBY and all that.
That's
to
what
Salem.
I'm saying. Like, so it's I don't think Salem knows that she's doing these things. Like, she's doing all of this for herself because she turns around and she's got someone in position there to fully show and blame.
Yeah, but could you also
And,
say could be the type of person who doesn't fully trust anybody?
well,
So
yes.
they're
So, but the thing is as far as it goes with Salem or with Cinder, Salem doesn't fully know that she's twisting for her own gain.
yeah, but you could also say Salem. I just don't know if Salem would ever be that naive to not think that Cinder is
Well,
doing stuff for herself.
the way I see it is she probably thinks, okay, well, with some of the stuff that Cinder's done in the past, okay, well, she didn't do what I said I told her to do exactly. So, but then say Cinder turns around and does it and has someone to blame for the cost of something else. So then that's kind of keeping the balance of, okay, sometimes she doesn't fully listen, but I'm still getting what I want right now. So she's kind of probably overlooking whatever she could be possibly doing because somebody's there to show proof of blame.
Well, it's like
so to keep Cinder be like, look, hey, I'm still doing what you said.
yeah.
And inside, she's just like, yeah, did what you said, but I did this for myself. So she's never going to reveal that right now.
Like, I do think there could be a possibility that Salem does know that Cinder is doing stuff behind her back, but like you said, Cinder
She's there
usually
proof.
she usually has a scapegoat planned already, but Salem is still achieving what she wanted in the end.
So she's not investigating.
She's willing
find
to.
out the truth.
Well, she may also be just willing to overlook it because you've seen villains do that in other series before. An underling has done something that was against their orders, but since it still resulted in them achieving what they wanted, they tend to overlook it.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that she's not investigating further into Cinder not listening to her. Like, the things that have happened, she's not like, how she blames Neo. This is all Neo's fault. She's not fully looking into any of that because she got what she wanted.
Well, also, Salem also knows that she has a way to control Cinder, and that's her now grim arm.
Which is why she's
because we saw that in 8. She's able to manipulate it to where it can cause Cinder harm. So if Cinder ever really did try anything, Salem knows she's got her under her foot anyway.
Yeah, but
there's a lot of factors there.
I know, that's what I'm saying though, is that like she's because she's getting what she wants, she's not looking further into it and Cinder's playing off that. She knows that. That's why she has her backup plans. Like, okay, well, I'm gonna blame Neo because that way this will show this, and she'll see she's getting what she wants, and she won't hurt me.
So here's this: does Cinder ever get cocky enough or desperate enough to try and double cross Salem? Not necessarily. We're not talking about redemption, becoming a good guy, or anything like that. Cinder's
not going to.
No.
She's fallen too far.
But just something happens that either Cinder gets cocky enough or desperate enough to try and backstab Salem and maybe run away, or at this point running away is pointless. But does something because Cinder's main thing for the longest time was to get more power, and that is to get all of the maiden powers, which I still wonder, could one person hold all that power all at once? Because,
Cinder's cocky enough to believe that.
And we've got anime and all that where characters are capable of so much power, but RWBY's RWBY's not Dragon Ball Z. You can't have characters constantly absorbing power and they're not being some side effects, because it seems like in RWBY it's kind of like that. So for one, I do not think Cinder could hold all 4 maiden powers inside herself.
Like I said, that doesn't stop her from thinking, yeah, I can take it all.
But does she continue the same plot of trying to get more maiden powers? Because she's tried that twice now with the Spring and Winter Maiden, and she's failed both times. does she still go after the Summer Maiden?
Maybe purely for the relic
Maybe.
at this point. But the thing is
Because Raven kicked her ass, and I think Winter could have too if the fight had continued. Because we've learned, and I'll let you get back to that in a minute, because I don't want to forget this thought. We've learned in the past that when it comes to characters who are either just stronger or more skilled because they have more experience, when it comes to a fight against someone like Raven, Cinder's not as powerful as she thinks she is. Of course, when she fights RWBY and the others, yeah, she has a distinctive edge because
she's been on the streets long.
Yeah, they're still kids, which I've never looked up what exactly, if they've ever really said what Cinder's age is, but I'm guessing she's a little bit older than the others. But yeah, when she goes against, kids who are still pretty much huntsmen and huntresses in training, she has an edge. But we see her go up against Raven. I think Raven held back for a long time. That's why Cinder was able to get an upper hand in some cases. But in the end, Raven kicked her tail. We thought at that time that she may have killed her. But then you see her go up against Penny, which Penny doesn't have the experience. She hasn't had the Winter Maiden powers long, so she doesn't have... It didn't seem like she ever had as much control over it, say, as Cinder has control over the Fall Maiden powers, because she's had it longer. But then you had her go up against Winter, who, yes, just got the Winter Maiden powers, but Winter seemed to...
She's also
she's
more
a highly
skilled.
Yeah,
she's a highly trained soldier.
So I think if the fight had continued, Winter may have one-upped Cinder. It just seems like every time she goes up against someone who is way more skilled and experienced than her, it shows her flaws. And so I think that's I think that's one of the other reasons why she didn't continue to fight Winter. Plus, she knew that Salem was back, so she needed to double back and everything. So, yeah. Since we don't know who the Summer Maiden is, we have no idea if they'll be a confident warrior like Raven, or if it'll be another debilitated character like the original Winter Maiden. But I don't know. It seems like there's got to be something more added to Cinder's story. It can't just be the same old get the maiden powers, because that's failed twice now. So what else? Of course they're still going to go for the relic, but does she still go for the power? That's the... Probably, but
she's too stubborn to not.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering what else... Is her motivation going to change as we get into the Vacuo arc, and more than likely probably start moving toward Endgame? Like, we still don't know how long RWBY is going to be, but I don't know. It's weird. What was that thought you were going with earlier?
I'm trying to remember now.
Well, if you do, let me know. We'll get back to it.
Well, I know one thing. Like, I kind of remember somewhat of it, but it's back to what you said about. Does Cinder get cocky and, try to betray her?
Mm-hmm.
Well, one thought that I had on that is that, like, I think it's possible that she will get to a point where she thinks, okay, she plans something out, thinking, I can get away with this, and I can get away from her, and I can continue what I want. And then Cinder, it could come down to where, I don't know what she would do, but she could end up in a place, against, RWBY or somebody, like, and be in a disadvantage, and she's failing, and she's going to, she'd probably, it's looking like she's going to die, and Salem could appear, and she asks for help, and Salem could just be like, no.
Yeah.
I know what you did to me.
And that's been done before.
It would just show up like, yeah, I know what you did to me, so you're on your own.
And
much.
I mean,
I could see that, because that could be where Cinder meets her end, is that she tries to do something to double cross and betray Salem to gain for herself, and it backfires. And then when she asks Salem for help, Salem will be like, nope, and just lets her die.
Yeah, and That's been done in series before, like another villain
It
get
would fit with a
desperate.
lot of the stuff that does happen in RWBY, like a lot of the things, because we've seen that behind the scenes, away from Salem, Cinder clearly does this already.
Yeah,
So she
I mean,
could get
yeah,
cocky
it was
enough,
apparent in 8 big time.
but it's clearly she could get to a point where she's cocky enough that she thinks, okay, this will work. I've been around her enough to know. But really, obviously, it didn't fix it. And Salem knew, and Salem finds out, and then just goes, "I'm not helping you."
Yeah.
But I don't think Salem's gonna be the one to kill her.
Yeah.
She'll let her die, but
Well,
that's about it.
That's what we're moving into. So, with Volume 8, we finally got Cinder's backstory, which, what we all thought, definitely Cinderella. As I said earlier in the video,
There's not going to be any redemption.
no,
for her.
like there's no becoming a good guy.
It's too late in her life now for her to be doing what she is, and she's obsessed.
Plus, well, I mean, she's already past the point of no return with the Grim Arm.
Yeah.
And I know when that episode came out, I felt very bad for Cinder because, like I said in the analysis when we did that, and when we did our video, our fairy tale video on Cinder and Cinderella, Cinder is a prime example of evil not being born but created. She was at one time just a child who wanted to find a place to belong. She wanted to be a huntress, and just all the
she
years
couldn't wait
of
for it anymore. Like,
yeah,
and I understand. Like, going back, thinking, I understand with everything that she was dealing with, all the abuse, all of that stuff from the stepmother in the story and the stepsisters, whatever. Yeah, I get it, but the thing is everyone's like, oh, well, Rhodes should have done more. He was doing what he could, like legally to get away, like that he could get away with.
Yeah.
That's as much as he could do, was keep training her, keep trying to push her on that path. Okay, I know you're going through this, but don't get angry and do something that you're going to regret to get out of this. Because it's going to put you in the opposite direction, which clearly happened.
Yeah, like he had already found her once contemplating killing her stepmother and the sisters.
And he was turning her away, but her impatience is where her downfall started for that, because she couldn't wait. If she would have waited just a little bit longer, she would have gotten what she really wanted. And because of the impatience, it led her to pretty much kill her mentor. Yeah.
And it's tragic. She's definitely a tragic character, but
I feel bad for her past. But it's her choices that made her go where she's at.
Yeah, and not all tragic characters get redeemed. They still have a tragic end because they brought it upon themselves. It's way different with a character like Raven, who I think definitely is on a road to redemption, just by what we saw at the end of Volume 5, her shedding tears, telling Yang she was sorry. I think whether Raven survives by the end of the series or not, I think either way, they're going to do something with Raven's character, which we went over in another video.
Yeah, we've talked about that, and that's why I really believe that Raven's not going to die, because she's the only person we all know that she would think of to give those powers to would have been Yang, and we know that's not going to happen.
Because RWBY has said that none of Team RWBY are getting maiden powers.
So that leads me to believe that's the same thing with Winter. Like, because of where Winter is now, because a long time ago, before we thought about her getting the powers, we thought there was a possibility that she was going to die. Now, I don't think she's going to either. Right? And she's moved into that same position that Raven is in. Now, Salem, on the other hand, or Cinder, that's not the case. That she's not going to be the final person with those powers. She's going to lose them to somebody. I believe it's Neo. It could be Emerald, but I really believe it might be Neo.
Yeah, because they're obviously going to do something with Neo, which is why she fell with Team RWBY. Now, moving on to who will be the one that causes the death of Cinder. Now, of course, there's a whole lot of characters that can be that. Don't want to spend too long on because we don't want this video to be too long. But of course, a lot of people's first choice is RWBY. For ever since Volume 1, Cinder has kind of been RWBY's foil in a way, because RWBY kind of represents what Cinder at one time wanted to be. All the love, all the people that care about RWBY, that she cares about too, being a huntress. We didn't learn that till Volume 8. But yeah, if you look at it, they kind of are foils to each other in some ways. Cinder is, in a way, she's kind of...
She wants what RWBY has.
Well, yeah, but like as far as like them always being seen as like, the main good guy and in some ways the main bad guy, it's almost like Cinder is the Lex Luthor to RWBY's Superman in a lot of ways. I just don't know if they'll have RWBY kill anybody, though. That's the thing. I don't think so,
but I have a theory that where RWBY contributes.
Well, it could be that Cinder starts turning into a Grimm, RWBY uses her eyes, and that's it. But go ahead. That's the only way I could maybe see it.
My thing is I think RWBY will, her eyes, like with a combination of her eyes and the growth that she's gone through with her skills and everything.
By that time.
Yes. I believe she'll weaken Cinder to the point, and I think Jean will kill her.
So you think John was the next character? I think it would be
Jean. And everyone's. I know there's some people like no. I really believe Jean should be the one to kill her because she took out Pyrrha.
Well, not just that, but Cinder also caused the death of Penny, which Jean got pulled into.
Yeah. So actually, thinking about it, it actually points to him even more. Actually, see after Volume 8 because that's. Because of her,
he had to do that.
He had to do it, even though he didn't want to.
Yep. So
that's now 2 on him. That's
Cinder.
Going to eat away at him because of Cinder. So I really believe that RWBY will do something. And if
Jean doesn't die at some point in the series.
But for at least a major theory, I believe RWBY's going to weaken her. Jean is going to kill her.
Then, of course, we have Neo, which a lot of people have... there is a good bit of hints that if Neo doesn't kill her, she will at least have something to do with it as well. Because, of course... Here's the thing.
You can tie that into that theory, too. Well, Neo and RWBY could both do something to her, like one leading to the other, which would be a downfall, which is where it would meet at the end with Jean.
Here's the thing with Neo. They're obviously wanting to do something with her or they wouldn't have had her fall with RWBY and them. Do I think Neo will become a full-on good guy?
She's going to remain an anti-hero.
Yeah, she's going to be an anti-hero. Like Jess always says, she'll be like a Harley Quinn character.
Harley, yes.
Where it's kind of like, we're not friends, but the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Because, let's face it, Cinder lied to Neo that RWBY killed Roman so she would work with her. Then, of course, we saw several, Cinder taking the relic from Neo and not thanking her, and Neo didn't like that. Then, of course, a few things in Volume 8 of things Cinder would say that Neo didn't like. But, then, of course, you've got Neo blackmailing Cinder and then Cinder getting back at her by kicking her off into the void. That was the ultimate betrayal. Now, of course, yes, Neo kept trying to attack RWBY in the Volume 9 teaser that we saw, but I still think that's why the theory that they're going to see things from the past on this island is a very strong possibility, because the only way Neo is going to learn what really happened to Roman is if she sees a ghost of him or there's some kind of deity
like
that's in this world that's going to show them things.
It's possible that they could even see these deities, like Jinn or
it might be where they go,
because that might be their world. That might be where they reside, and because you wouldn't have a limit on questions that you could ask for knowledge because you're in their world.
Yeah.
So
that could be what leads to them getting out. So, but here's the thing.
That could be how she sees Roman, though.
But here's the thing. Roman was eaten by a Grimm. So I don't think Neo is going to swear war on all Grimm. though that might be what convinces her to become like an actual huntress and hunt Grimm, just to get that little satisfaction. You know, this is all theory, but
It's clear there's going to be something, though, because,
well,
again, she wouldn't have fallen.
well, yeah, but like it's like, you know, she's gonna see that, so why would she want to go after Cinder? But then again, Cinder lied to her, she manipulated her, she betrayed her, you know. So
She could do something.
there's gonna be anger there.
She could do something that would lead her into a trap where Ruby would get a hold of her,
And like,
weaken her, and then that's also what could, again, that, I don't know, that theory just seems really strong to me, that Neo could do something to betray her, which leads her to Ruby, which leads her to Jean. Obviously not that fast, but it's definitely, I don't know, I just feel strongly about at least some points of that somewhere.
well, it's like we
there's
said,
something.
they're doing something with her, or she wouldn't have been one of the ones that fail. So yeah, it could just
I
be
believe
like,
it might be 10 that we might that Cinder might finally come to her end.
well, we'll see.
We don't know, obviously we don't know enough with 9, but I think either 10 or the start of it in 10.
Well, next is, of course, Salem, which we've kind of already talked about Salem enough, about what could go on there. Then, of course, it could just be the fact that Cinder is turning into a Grimm, and that's eventually what
Does her in.
does her in. And then, I mean, there's even things you could go about with Emerald. You know, Emerald's on the good guy's side now, and with, you know, there's going to be some kind of conclusion to Emerald and Cinder's story, because they are connected in a way. You know, we talked about in our Emerald and Aladdin video how in some way, you know, if Emerald doesn't see Cinder in any kind of romantic light, it's like Cinder is the Jafar for Emerald's story. But if there was any way it was ever romantic, Cinder could have been like, you know, an evil version of Jasmine in a way, you know. But I still don't think it's romantic, so I think
it's more towards the Jafar.
yeah. So I mean,
like we've talked about that type of scenario fits more.
yeah.
So
I think the only way the theory that Emerald is going to become the Fall Maiden is if she is the one that kills Cinder, which who knows, it could be. But there's still, like, you know, Emerald only became a good guy just in Volume 8, so there's not enough there yet to really build a theory on.
Also, Jean, like, you know, the whole theory we have, Jean could be the one to end her.
You've got everybody tag teaming Cinder at this point.
But no, as Cinder's dying, the last person she could look at could be Emerald.
Yeah.
Because she could see, you know, pretty much Emerald switch sides.
Well, she already knows because Jen showed her.
Well, yeah, but, like, actually physically seeing her there. So, I mean, that's a possibility, too. But I think it'd be, for me, the powers would either go to Neo or Emerald. So, it would be one of the two. So, they definitely fit somewhere.
I think, in a way, it could fit Emerald more because as she's dying, she looks at Emerald and realized that if she had just done things differently, she could have had what she originally wanted when she was still an Atlas. I don't know. But, yeah, I think that's really all we've got to go over because, you know, it's still very much up in the air. Volume 9 has not aired as of the recording of this video. But yeah, that's our little video on Cinder. I wanted to do this because Jess has had a lot of theories on Cinder for a while, so I decided we would finally get those out. But hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, click that like button, tell us in the comments what you thought. As always, guys, this is Kanan.
This is Jessie.
We love you all very, very much. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.